Nicholas,
Yes, sir.
are we live?
We are.
Okay, good. Good. Holy smokes. Nicholas, I don't know. Tonight might be a drinking night on the program.
Wouldn't be the first.
I'll tell you. Um, yeah, I had a doozy today. I had a real doozy when I introduced our guests for an upcoming Friarside Chat. An absolute first, an absolute misfire. There was a second there where I did my so I'll preface it by saying I realized mid intro that I forgot to take out I didn't edit it properly, and I'm reading it. Oh shit! I can't continue what I'm going to say. It's not going to make any sense. And so that threw me off, and so I had to then add, sort of off the top of my dome, go through the introduction because I had a really kick-ass sort of thing written, and I realized halfway through I go, oh fuck, I forgot to delete the sentence here, and I couldn't work my brain fast enough to just skip that line and keep going. So then I improvised, and and then I finished the intro, and I go, why is there this weird awkward pause? And then I realized I never actually said our guests' names. Nicholas, kind of important for those fucking listening to know who the hell we're talking to. But,
Oh man.
ladies and gentlemen,
And
boys and girls, ladies and what?
Nope. Go for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, I may have a stroke before I finish this introduction, so please bear with me. TLDR Studios proudly presents you the greatest, and I mean the greatest, and sometimes absent-mindedest podcasting team in the world. He is the incredibly talented comic book writer, Nick Friar. I am your sundowning host, Tenacious Doc, and together we are the TLDR Comic Book Club. Baby, how's it going, Nicholas?
You know what? Without getting into the details, because obviously we're not doing that. Joe's beating himself up, and what the fact that he's doing this show today is stunning to me. I was prepared because of different things that were going on to have to do the Friarside Chat in this show by myself, with good reason because of what Joe had going on. Yet he is sitting virtually across from me right now. So I appreciate you being hard on yourself. I can understand that. I'm sure if I was frustrated with myself like you, I'm not saying you should be, but I would be beating myself up similarly, maybe a little more silently. But I don't think you should be. And the fact that you're doing the show with me right now, after that too, like you deserve more credit than you're giving yourself. So be nice to my friend, like I've said to you many a time before. When you start beating yourself up.
Well,
Okay?
I'm mostly here, Nicholas, because I didn't want you to fuck things up, to be honest with you.
And there he is, everybody. He's back, baby. All right. Without further ado, now that Joe is here, okay. So we're teasing. We put it out on social, like that. We have possibly our best "What's New" ever, and you'll find out why later. Joe doesn't even know why. But the head of our most legendary, possibly, Friarside Chat. That's because. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, we were the first people, the first podcasters, and honestly, outside of the creative team and the Batman editor at DC Comics, we were the first people to check out the first issue of Immortal Legend Batman. I almost dropped an F-bomb in there, but it's like, no, I got to say the actual title. But holy shit, dude. When we found that out from Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom, that's how it's done, Joe. I was like, wait, what the fuck? Like, we're the first ones. I had a feeling we might be based on our emails with Kyle, but damn, man, like I was honored to be able to check that we were the first ones. And then furthermore, holy shit, dude. Not only was the chat's great, everybody, you guys are going to have a fun time listening to it. We'll be dropping that on Monday after this What's New, so ahead of the final new comic book day of July. But holy shit, man, the issue is so fucking good. And my biggest takeaways were the first 5 pages are top notch. Like the end of issue of the 5th page is like the end of like an actual fucking comic by itself. Like, wait a second, what? Like, this is such a good, like, jump, getting me involved in the story. The ending itself, I legitimately said out loud with my wife in the other room. I was like, I threw my hands up and I was like, holy shit. And she was like, what happened? I'm like, everything's fine. It's just the book that I'm reading. It was, and everything in between was so good. The world building, this is one of the richest first issues in terms of world building. Those were my takeaways from Immortal Legend Batman, Joe, without getting into any of the spoilers and any of the specifics whatsoever. The FOC, before you dig into your takeaways, the FOC, everybody, is August 4th. So it's coming up around the corner. You want to make sure you get moving on it. As soon as we drop that episode, obviously you'll be able to get moving on it as well. But like, you can go right now. So let your local comic shop know you want to add Immortal Legend Batman issue 1 to your pull list. Joe, what was your big takeaway?
Well, I mean, we talk each and every week, whether it's an ultimate book or an absolute book, about why we love those stories, right? And this isn't either of those. This is just a kick-ass Elseworlds Batman story that Kyle and Matt have, they've given the old Emerald Lagasse treatment to it. Bam! They've spiced it up, right? Like, this is, as they mentioned in the interview, this is an oversized series. It's an oversized first issue. So you're getting a little bit more than you normally get. And with that just comes incredible content. And there was at least 3 different points where I go, oh, that's a perfect ending. But wait, there's more. Oh shit, that's a perfect ending. But wait, there's more. And there's a certain moment where a flip gets switched, and I mean, it goes from like 0 to 100, and then from like 100 to 1,000, right? And just their take on the characters, both heroes and the Rogues Gallery, absolutely tremendous. That's why we love the Absolute series and the Ultimate series so much, right? Like, this very much fits that vein, right? Fits that mold of storytelling. But Kyle and Matt they really do just kick it up a notch. And then the art and the lettering and everything about this, right? Like, you're going to get so much insight when you listen to that chat, about sort of the genesis of this story, that you're like, holy smokes, like, strap in and strap on. You're literally not ready for this book. It was tremendous.
Yeah, we always say how I at least like to position it this way as best as we can. Like, whenever we do our Friarside chats, they're ideally like a director's cut kind of special features thing that you'd find in a DVD. And there are different ways to go about that, but the way in which we do it, I really feel like we're able to get a lot of really good stuff about how it's made and then different machinations going on within the story. Obviously, with this, it's a little bit tougher because we really have to be spoiler sensitive. Like, we've talked to Kyle about Radiant Black stuff or even Ordinary Gods, No One, all these different things. Like, that's his own stuff. He can spoil it how he wants. And I know, like, we've had, Scott Snyder on, where he spoils the shit out of stuff on our show. But like, there's differences. And I feel like I'm really pleased with how that went, Joe. I'm very excited to re-listen to that in its full form once we get it out to everybody, because it was we got a lot. I don't care about how much you're beating yourself up. We got a lot of awesome insight from those two.
Yeah, it was tremendous. Did you plug the socials already? Did you tell the people where they can listen to that chat?
No, I think that was actually an opportune time to do that. The only place that, if you're finding us on YouTube or over on Instagram Live, first of all, make sure you subscribe, like all those different things you're supposed to do on the video platforms. But if you're finding us on video right now and you're wondering, where can I find these Friarside chats? I'm not seeing them anywhere on your YouTube library. That's because they are audio only episodes. Those are conversations with creators across the industry. Generally, it's writers, because the artists are always so busy bringing the stories to life. But yes, we have Matt Groom, we had Kyle Higgins on the show. They're together talking about Immortal Legend Batman. Subscribe to the show on Apple, Spotify, Geeks Worldwide Radio, Amazon Music, Audible, all those places. And wherever you listen, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Otherwise, you're going to learn the real meaning of tenacious stock. And I'll tell you what, he's not going to fucking sundown about that shit. That's for damn sure. All right. So we got a lot to get to this week. This is a fucking awesome week for comics. On top of the fact that we have this Immortal Legend Batman interview that it will also end up being the first interview that these guys are doing for the book. So you'll be seeing that dropping on Monday at midnight. So again, if you subscribe to the show, if you've already listened to us on audio, but you haven't subscribed, subscribe to the show. It's going to be right on your listening device right when you start off Monday, where it's like, oh, I got to go to fucking work on all this shit. It'll be right there, ready for you guys to listen to. You listen to part of it on the way into your commute. If you have a 30-minute drive, guess what? You'll have the rest for afterwards, and you're gonna want to hear all of this shit. There is so much to Immortal Legend Batman, but we got a lot to get to for this week. In catching up, I want to make a quick note. I have been catching up on Mr. Terrific Year One, which is an ongoing title. I think it's going to be a 6-issue miniseries, actually, over at DC. The 3rd issue is out this week. I'm not going to break it down, but I wanted to check this out, Joe, because I saw the James Gunn, David Cornsweet Superman Superman movie, and I had a delightful time with that movie, and I was blown away by Mr. Terrific, because this is a character who I was like, I never really spent a whole lot of time with him. I've seen him in events and whatnot, and then I was like, I like this guy. Like I like the way this character is being portrayed. I need to see, like, is there more to him in the comics? And this is solid. And it's like the start for me. I'm seeing like Strange Adventures, which I never read, is really good, Mr. Terrific stuff. And then I'll probably try and see if there's other stuff to kind of crawl down that rabbit hole, because I'm interested in learning more about Mr. Terrific, I gotta say.
So I haven't seen it yet. I have my reservations about it, but what I will say is that that's what James Gunn, I think, really excels at, right?
Yeah,
it's taking the characters that they're obscure. I mean, that's what made Guardians so successful, right? I mean, all honestly, really, like, before Guardians came out, who the hell was
no,
I'm sure, I guess there were readers, but mainstream, no, and it became a huge success, right? So I think that's probably the one of the biggest things to come out of this now is that, like, okay, you've got Mr. Terrific, you finally got someone who's handled Green Lantern, or a Green Lantern, I think, fairly decently, so like taking the more obscure characters, not that Green Lantern is, but Guy Gardner, and is given teeth to them, right? So that doesn't surprise me that you walked out of that movie saying, yeah, I want to know more about Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
What I know from the movie is that there's a book that you discussed on this program that I'm going to go read. And I've intimated at that to you, and I'm not going to say what it is. But now that I've told you, it won't be on a trade, because I'm reading it and I can't have you guessing correctly.
Yep,
I can't be giving you points.
Although that would also be the perfect okie doke if you're like you'd be like Babe Ruth calling the shot. So yeah. I gotta say, we've talked about, and we have dragged our feet on doing some more crossovers with Dork, as much as we were on for their 10th anniversary special. But I've been wanting to float that idea to Rich about, like, ahead of the movie, maybe this is something that we want to do. Obviously, I talked about it on the show, and I'm sure once you read it, you'll talk about it in detail. But like, it'd probably be good to go through some different things before that movie comes out, if they're interested. But I don't think they've read that yet, but they should definitely check that out. All right, so enough of catching up and enough Superman talk. Let's actually kick off what's new, a little different this week. Usually we start things with Marvel, everybody, unless we're doing a mainline episode in which Joe is talking about a Marvel book. This time around, we're going to do Image and Skybound. So why don't you take us away, Joe?
Yeah, you've teased something, a book that I want to discuss, something that I've missed apparently. So I'm looking forward to whatever the hell that is. But before we get to that, from Image and Skybound for New Comic Book Day 7/23/2025, we have Void Rivals issue 21, Geiger issue 16, Exquisite Corpses issue 3, Nicholas. There is a panel. I forget what the nurse's name is. Is it Pete?
I think so.
There's an image of him smiling that is one of the most haunting images I have ever seen in a comic book. It was fucking terrifying. We have Department of Truth issue 32, Gunslinger Spawn issue 45, the Pedro Martinez issue, Monstrous issue 58, Ice Cream Man issue 44, The Rockefellers issue 7, The Seasons issue 6, Rat City issue 16, Lost Fantasy issue 3, Hornsby and Halo issue 8, The Curse of Shirley Johnson issue 2, Kaya issue 20. What a week for Image. Holy cow. We have Sleep issue 3, Bloodletter issue 2, Dark Honor issue 3, which may or may not be the gem of the week this week. But there's 2 books we want to discuss. Nicholas, let's just get right to Feral issue 15. There is
Okay.
something here that you said I missed.
Yes, there is. So we can't show this on screen because it's review copies, and obviously, like, we just don't you don't want to run the risk of showing anything. But I need you to pull this up on your pull the
Oh,
issue up on
okay.
your screen first. Everybody's gonna get a live reaction. I did not mention this to Joe because I wanted to get his live reaction if he didn't come across it by himself on the show. Do you have it at the ready, Joseph?
You didn't. You should have told me to have it at the ready beforehand.
This is a very fair point, but it's okay. We're good.
Okay. Feral issue 15. Okay. What
Okay, it's
page
in front
are
of
we
you.
on? Yeah.
Go to the very end, all the way to the back cover.
Stray Dogs has some viciousness, but it's more psychological. Feral is vicious. It is ruthless. It's relentless. It's crazy. A completely different experience. It is awesome stuff. Joseph Gilmore, TLDR Comic Book Club. Wow, I never, yeah, 100% I missed it because you read the last panel. I know it's just ads. I do look for the cats. I do need to send them a picture of Miko. But Nicholas, did you know about that?
Nope.
That's
had no
fucking
idea.
amazing, brother.
When I saw it, I was like, again, like it's weird having like another holy shit moment. I like popped. I was reading it in my bed, and I popped up, and like my wife wasn't at home. I fucking called her right away, and I was like, the show's on the back of the issue. Like,
That's amazing.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
So it was like, and they've been doing this for a bit. Like Tony and Trish have been doing this. I don't know if it's this arc or if it's been longer than that. But I know it's at least been this arc where it's back page is red. You see a creator or a podcaster or YouTuber or whatever, and then you see their name and then the show underneath it. And I saw that and I was like, what the fuck? To be clear, just because I'm actually having self-doubt, does it say your name on your review copy?
No.
Or okay, you're just fucking with me. Okay. Because I was like, that's fucking crazy if they did that. That'd be fucking nuts.
I
know they like us,
but oh, that's tremendous, Nicholas. I mean, I know it's usually me they're asking for the quotes on these things, but no, that is oh, that's awesome. That just tickles me. That is absolutely wonderful. As is the issue.
Yes. Oh my god. What an issue to be on the back of. I was so fucking pumped about that too.
There's a reveal in this issue that happens at the end. Did you see that coming? Because I know I did. It was like that was like my first. I go, these fucking creepy ass.
There was a thing that you called that I was very much like, this is when you said it, I was kind of like, yeah, this is definitely what you think it is.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like say anything at the time because it's just like, let it ride.
Yeah.
But yes, you're 100%. I agree with. Yes, you were on 100%.
Yeah, this was a tremendous issue because there was a lot going on, right? So we're deep in this sort of, this arc's, PetSmart, Pet City, name your, generic box store, pet store. And the cats in there are fucking weird. They're like, and I think at some point one of the cats actually says like, were you homeschooled? Right? Or something to like that effect, right? Which is spot on because they've got that weirdo like homeschool, and then kind of stereotypical vibe. But like there's a lot that happens, right? Because Lord continues to piss me off.
Dude.
Right? Like I just want to jump into the pages and strangle him and just be like, dude, like cut the shit. Right. And he was like, but there was a point to his sort of obnoxiousness, right? And when you read the issue, you'll realize. But this issue gets a little naughty, gets a little illicit, gets a little soap opera, and I loved it. I'm here for it. It was so good, and then you just get that absolute like kind of reveal at the end, and just Farrell just continues to keep getting better, and Tony and Trish just continue to find ways to like freak us the fuck out, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, just to put it in a different frame it in a different way, like tensions are all time high, and
Oh
like
yeah.
nothing is going to be the same with Farrell after this issue. Like,
Mm-mm.
and like it feels like this is the moment where everything just is like now everything has been revealed, everything's fucking tense now, and pandemonium is gonna fucking set in. And I would imagine that issue 16 is going to be as crazy of a fucking issue as we've seen from this series. But yeah, like this is like like very like look like I know like it was we're joking around about it, but like very cool to see the show mentioned on the back cover. We stand on those words clearly 100%, and like I'm very pleased that like we've been enjoying all of the issues of Farrell, but like this is a great one for the show to get a mention on. Just such a great representation of what this series is too.
I will say though, it was me who gave him the beer at C2E2.
It is. It was you who gave me.
Just saying, little slighted, feel a little slighted. You know, beers weren't cheap. You know, beers weren't cheap. You know.
That was funny. I forgot about that. She did. Oh man. Well, we got one other image book that we did want to discuss as well. You made a point to text me about The Voice Said Kill, issue 1 by friend of the show, Cy Spurrier and Vanessa Del Rey. Why don't you dig into it a little more for the people?
So I am convinced now more than ever, especially like this week, but like we've been talking about this now, like we've got a new category for the floppies, right? Best new horror series.
Right.
And we get another friggin' installment, like another effing contender for potential best new horror series of 2025. And we didn't do a solicit for this month, so a lot of these number ones are sort of catching us off guard a bit because we just didn't do the look ahead that we normally do. Right. So I had no idea that this was coming up by Cy Spurrier. And so this is a story that is a horror story, and man, is it brilliantly written. You know that I'm assuming is it Florida or Louisiana, somewhere down in the bayou?
It's in the bayou. Like, that's all I remember.
Right. And
scrap gators,
oh, titers, and like there's like this like real sort of like hillbilly bayou crime underbelly that you think you're getting, and then it just sort of takes this twist, right? With our main character, who is, you know, she's a cop, and she's very pregnant, and she gets herself caught into she's up the creek.
Yep.
But the thing I think that really stands out, because we talk about this all the time, like art, like comics is a visual thing, right? So like sometimes we can ignore art that might not be our style if the story's really good. Sometimes the art can really take you out of something, right? So art like just plays this very integral role. Vanessa Del Rey's art in this book is so good, right? There is like, you know, I always talk about artists who have sort of a sketchier style that I think plays really well to horror stories.
Mm-hmm.
And she does two things extremely well. One is she gives you that creepy horror vibe with her art. It is very sketchy. It feels very bayou. But you can also feel the setting that you're in. You mentioned this. Like you said, I can feel the humidity. Mm-hmm. Right? You read that and you feel swampy. You feel viscous. You feel gross. Right? Like you are literally transported into this world, and I think that's a testament to both Cy's writing, but also, you know, Vanessa Del Rey's art there. And this book is just it's heavy, it's dark, it's gritty. I think it's one of those things that I think I can speak safely for the both of us that we love when it comes to horror stories, right? Red Fork, very similar vibe.
Yeah, that's a great call. I didn't think of that. That's a great call.
Right. And this, like, you read it, like if you read this book, folks, you're gonna be like, yeah, I feel sweaty. I need to go take a shower. This is fucking. It's it's a humid book.
It really is. I mean, the two words that come to my mind are humid and muggy. It is and
Yeah.
like with the heat wave that we've been dealing with in the Northeast, like over the past like couple weeks or so, it's just like fuck, man. I've been living this shit, even though we're not anywhere near the friggin' bayou. But to further everything that Joe's saying, as much as I think you covered it greatly, like this we use I love to use the term when it's applicable that a certain comic that we're reading is an experience. And for all the reasons that you laid out, especially because of Vanessa Del Rey's art style, this is an experience. Like the voice that said kill is fucking outstanding. And like we're like you've already hinted at it, but like we're dealing with this park ranger who is like very pregnant, who is dealing with like a whole set of problems that like in a crime story, like these might make sense, but not just a pregnant. So I was like, there's like a whole like, and we're talking like I think like 8 months pregnant. That's not a spoiler or anything. Like it's holy shit. Like you got to deal with that while all this is going on. So it's like the voice that said kill, like the first issue out this week. You guys want to check that thing out, man. It is something else.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Marvel. We don't have any books that we want to break down, but I will say Uncanny X-Men issue 18. Fucking awesome. That does some nice stuff with the previous issue, and then it seems to move on. Maybe stay with it a little bit. We'll see. The Moon Knight, the Fist of Khonshu, issue 10. The action in this issue was fucking top tier. Very much felt like 90s throwback. Like if you love that kind of art, it's in the action sequences that you could get. This issue really hits on that in the 10th issue of Moon Knight, Fist of Khonshu. Then we got the Amazing Spider-Man issue 8. Wolverine issue 11, Storm issue 10, Iron Man issue 10, Psylocke issue 9, Phoenix issue 13. What's up?
Did you call dibs on Psylocke?
I don't think I called dibs. I had read it and I've actually fallen off a little bit. So I should undibs it regardless.
Well, no, I know it's not why I brought it up, because I thought for some reason you called dibs or thinking about calling dibs, or I told you to call dibs. It's just kind of hit me because I've fallen off on Phoenix a little bit as well. I think a great mainline issue down the road would be a Psylocke Phoenix.
Yeah, that would be a great one. Yeah, issue. I have Magic that I know I called dibs on.
Or okay, you could do Magic, right? Yeah. But I think something.
You're
like
damn
that
right. I can do fucking Magic on this show. Yeah. That's why you gotta watch us too. Come on, baby. Let's see it, Joe. You got this. I don't understand. I guess you are just to quote how they say.
It's because I'm in the cuck seat, you know.
I was gonna say a normie, but okay, that also works. But yeah, I got to get back on Psylocke. I just fell off for some reason.
I mean, I got to get back on Phoenix too, but like that thought hit me. Like I don't know, that would seem like
yes.
a fun main line to do.
100%. West Coast Avengers issue 9, Emma Frost, the White Queen issue 2, Spider-Verse versus Venomverse issue 3, written by the aforementioned Matt Groom and Kyle Higgins, Jeff the Landshark issue 2, Fantastic Four Fanfare issue 3, Gwenpool issue 3, Runaways issue 2, Doom's Division issue 5, and then Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent issue 2.
All right, from Boom Studios, we have Minor Arcana issue 9, Bronze Faces issue 4, and then one of my favorite books that I've been reading this year so far from our good pal Dan Panosian with art by Alessio Avallone is The Last Boy issue 4. Dan's take on Peter Pan. And not just Peter Pan, but Neverland, the characters there, but also, Adult Wendy, it's been absolutely stellar. And, the Shadow King, who's been the main antagonist has been quite the villain, for Peter. And so what I loved about this issue, what we've gotten up until this point is we've sort of gotten a lot of, Peter Pan sort of being a quote unquote fish out of water, right? Like he is not just the last boy, but he feels like he's been the sole lost boy. He's in this world, right, that he's known, but things are different, right? Captain Hook as a reformed man, Tiger Lily, everyone's different, right? And he's still kind of stuck. He's got, in this state of, arrested development, right? He's the kid that never grows up. So everyone else in Neverland has moved on, but him, right? And that's sort of been the theme. This issue, we get some self-reflection there, right, from Peter. We see a different side of Peter, and I think his journey in this issue was excellent, especially the end. I don't know if you read it yet, but the end of
I
this
did.
issue, right, was awesome. But I
Yeah.
think what meant the most to me, what hit me the most, has been Wendy's story,
Dude, that was my biggest note. My biggest takeaway
right?
was the Wendy stuff in this issue hit hard.
Yeah, because what you've had is you sort of had Wendy in this same place. Everyone else around her has grown up, has moved on, even though she has physically grown, right? There's still something about Wendy's childhood that she's holding on to. It's very much, who she is. She's a storyteller. She, that's how she connects to people. And through the first three issues, Wendy's story has been, her mother wanting her to get married and marry this wealthy man, and start, you move on with her life, while at the same time her father's dying, right? And she's grappling between, like, how can I still be who I am and be an adult at the same time? And she's still trying to hold on, to the vestiges of her youth. And there's a moment that I can't remember which brother it is that she's with, but
Mhm.
he's there and he's sort of this lighthouse through the fog, that she is currently in, a very bright, beacon that really, just as you read it, it was this was some of Dan's best work, I think, you
Mhm.
know, you know, as a writer, and he's an excellent writer, and I've loved all the stories, but this issue in particular really just, like,
Yeah.
it hit me. And like, I love like the action stuff that you get with Peter and Neverland, the fun stuff he done there, right? It's great, but then just having that juxtaposition of sort of what's going on with Wendy, they're different, but they're the same. And I just that to me was the biggest, like, takeaway from this issue, and the thing that really hit me the most.
Dude, it really was powerful. I was like, this is the thing that I need to
Yeah.
make sure it gets mentioned. I knew you wanted to break it down in more detail, but I was like, that Wendy bit, man, was
Mm.
just like, that was awesome stuff. Moving over to Dark Horse, we got Huck Big Bad World issue 3, Usagi Yojimbo 10K Plums issue 5. Yes.
Real quick, do you want to talk about another emotional gut punch? That issue, that this, I mean, I've talked about Usagi Yojimbo. I love it. Stan Sakai. This one really felt like it came from an emotional place.
Nice.
For him. This one also too hit me like a sack of bricks.
Nice,
Mm.
interesting. Okay, with Usagi Yojimbo, personally wouldn't expect that. As much as I haven't read a ton of Usagi, just from hearing you talk about it. The Great British Bump Off, Kill of the Quilt, issue 4, Critical Role, Vox Machina Origins 1, issue 2, and then Tex Arcanum, issue 1. This is written by Christopher Monfett and Miguel, drawn by Miguel Martos. And we're not breaking it down, but this one was like, this is something that people need to be checking out. If you are
Mm.
into like exorcist more some monster hunter type stuff, like this is a character, this is a world that you're going to want to check out. This is a 4-issue miniseries over at Dark Horse, and this first issue had a ton of potential.
Yeah, this was monster story. This was sci-fi. This was horror. This was western, all wrapped
Mm-hmm.
into one. I mean, there's a lot going on here. This book was excellent. I enjoyed it very much, and looking forward to see sort of where it goes from here.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
Okay, so Mad Cave, our good pals at Mad Cave, who are I'll say it, they're buying my vote. They're buying my vote. I love them guys. Keep them coming. Keep them packages coming, Mad Cave. I love you guys.
Oh man.
But seriously, a bunch of books from Mad Cave this week. We have Vanishing Point issue 3. That's, of course, is written by Mark Russell. With each issue, it's an anthology series. We have a different artist. I just caught up on issue 2. I for somehow I missed it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to touch on issue 2 real, because I didn't get a chance to read issue 3, but issue 2, like, I'm reading it and I go, okay, this is just like a sort of a weird retro Jetsons vibe, to it. You're getting the story. I'm like, okay, I know Mark Russell. I know he's going somewhere with this. And then, boy, howdy, did he take it somewhere. That issue of Vanishing Point got real dark, real deep. So I can't wait to read issue 3. But if you haven't been reading Vanishing Point, do it. Right there, it's an anthology, so each issue is its own thing. I can't recommend that series enough. We have Blade Forger issue 5, Blue Palo Verde issue 2. I read the first issue. I did. It was my gem of the week. So make sure you go follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Blue Sky and all those places you can find that there. I really love the first issue. Can't wait to read the second one. But then there was a number one, Nicholas, that you read. I read. I will say this up front, like, you're gonna take dibs on this because my brain just like, this was an excellent book. I love the premise of it, but it was a lot for me to like visually take it. So I can't wait to hear your take on Look Into My Eyes, issue 1 by Rubin Kubilis, with art by Francesco Segala.
Yeah, just goes by Rubin
Oh, Rubin.
in the inside, and she is doing, if I'm not mistaken, both the art and the
Oh, okay. My bad. Yep.
yeah, no, you're good. But like, always interested when we're seeing a cartoonist, like, it just, especially when we're talking about publishers versus graphic novels, or rather I should periodicals versus graphic novels, just because of keeping up with that tempo and everything. Although Mad Cave does it differently and in a good way. But you're 100% right, Joe. Like, this is an insane visual experience. Like, the first couple pages, like, I'm not joking. Like, when you get ready to read this, if you pick this up and go, like, like, okay, get it in your stack, brace yourself. This is the first couple pages are just like, your senses are going to be on overload, without question. Then things from a visual standpoint kind of settle in as the story takes shape. There's still more of that, throughout the course of the issue, as you guys see what you'll eventually see what I'm talking about. But the meat of this is we're spending time with this high school girl, RJ, who's strongly pushing back against this new social media platform, Knock Knock, which doesn't sound like it's alluding to anything specifically. And all of her friends are devoted to this thing, and she's also trying to like raise the alarm on like these disappearances that are happening at their school, and nobody seems really doing anything else about it. I know, like, when I talk about the art, it's so like the first couple like pages are just like sensory overload, but I enjoyed that. Like, it's a lot to take in, and you got to take your time doing it. But when we get into the meat, like where the way the art is there, and it's more so about the colors than necessarily the lines. They're all pretty similar throughout. But I love that style. Like the main RJ, like her whole style, like this like kind of like gothy like chick, like I'm all about it. Like, I love seeing those kind of characters in the story at the center of her story. So I'm very interested. She's like a rebel, not without a cause, but like she's a rebel. She's got a cause. But like I really enjoyed this first issue. When we talk about like different stuff from a visual standpoint, so different from the voice. The voice said, was it the voice said kill? Yeah, the voice said kill. So different from that. Both 4-word titles, though. Got to make sure we call that out. But it's like, if you're looking for different stuff visually to pick up more so than anything else, if you're prioritizing that ever when you're looking for a number one or this week at all, these are 2 books that like you're going to get very, very different experiences, but both wild visual experiences.
Yeah, I just real quick, I think, because when I think about it, I think this book, and I think considering the nature of the story, right, it's very much a book for the digital age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And where we are, so like when you think of that ADD nature of sort of where people are now, where we need things quickly, we need things, short, succinct, boom, 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 right? As social media is, that's sort of how this book is written. And like, my old ass, was just like, but I will say the visuals, I mean, like, visually, it's a stunning book. I just like, there was a component of ours. It's like, I can't. I had to like,
Mm-hmm.
I had to step away. So I'm assuming you're taking dibs on it.
Yeah, if you didn't
Yeah.
check the first one, I think this is a good instance for
Yeah. Perfect.
us to do that. Yeah,
Because I
100%.
think with this style of book too, like when it's collected, I might be able to digest it because reading
Mhm.
it like this month to month, like right, it might be hard for me. So I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that. So when the time comes, I could check it out. All at once. What do we got next, my friend from Oni Press?
Oni Press, we got the Sixth Gun Battle for the Sixth issue one. I believe this is a 3-issue miniseries. Of course, Joe has talked about the Sixth Gun on the show previously. And then Biker Mice from Mars issue 2 is also out this week. Real quick from IDW, we got Godzilla issue 1. Tim Seeley kicking off the new universe. We talked with Griffin Sheridan and Ethan S. Parker about what they're going to be doing within that universe. I fucking loved their Godzilla book.
No,
So
tremendous.
you guys are definitely going to want to check that one out. And of course, Tim Seeley doing great stuff as well. And also TMNT Saturday Morning Adventures issue 27, which brings us, Joe, to Dynamite.
Dynamite. So, I will say, last week there was a nice healthy stack of Dynamite books for me to pick up.
Hell yeah.
So here's hoping. We know at least one of the books that for sure will be dropping this week. So
Yeah,
just
that's right.
all I'll say is this: these are the books that's supposed to come out from Dynamite. Lunar's really not helping the cause here. So just
Oh,
like
okay.
don't give your local comic book shop, guys and gals a hard time if the Dynamite books aren't there. It's not Dynamite's fault. For the most part, it seems like it's been mostly a Lunar issue. So
Gotcha.
please bear with them. But from Dynamite, we have Thundercats issue 18,
Oh,
which that one I'm not sure because I feel like I just picked up issue 16. So
shit.
I say that.
Yes.
But the Terminator issue 10, which I think is the conclusion. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it
Ooh.
might be. Silverhawks issue 5. Red Sonja Attacks Mars issue 4. Thundercats Powerpuff Girls issue 1. Barbarella, Barbarella, issue 5. And Vampirella, Armageddon, issue 1. But the book the book we know for 100% that is coming out, a book that we've been waiting for, it's unfortunately been pushed back, a few times. A book written by David Pepos with art by Aman Castellanos is Captain Planet and the Planeteers issue 2.
Yeah, and I'm going to share a little something that Joe shared with me over the weekend because as he was reading this, he was watching the original show, Captain Planet, and it's available on Prime, correct, sir?
It's Prime free, baby. I watched
Dude.
issue. I watched episode 1 today with my little one. She couldn't care. She was well, to be fair, she was like, knee deep in Roblox.
Okay.
But like I caught her peeking. Problem
Okay.
is
Gotta bring it
the
back.
theme song didn't come on until the end. It was like
Oh,
the end
dude.
credits. I'm like, you
Dude,
got to lead off with that shit.
that's a fucking banger. You kidding
That's
me?
what pulls you in,
Oh my god. Yeah, no, that's a great intro song. What, like, I think of that intro song like has randomly popped up in my head over the years of my
We
adult
may
life.
have Mandela affected that. It might not be the intro song. It might be the outro song.
Bro, don't do that to me.
Right? I think so.
That's
A lot of guest voices too, right? LeVar Burton was the narrator at the beginning, Whoopi Goldberg, at least the initial. I looked on IMDb, the voice of Gaia. But also Margot Kidder, speaking of Superman.
Wow.
She was the original Lois Lane and also voiced Gaia at some point. So
Damn.
but a lot of well-known names were guest voice actors on that program.
I did not know that. I cannot wait to go back and check that out. And I'm so pumped that it's available on Prime. So we got the second issue, like you said, Joe, of Captain Planet and the Planeteers, David Pepos and Iman Casalos. After we get a reintroduction to the world, into the characters with the sprinkling of plot in the first issue, things get moving real quickly in this one. And one thing that I'm really enjoying, and this is what kind of gets explored even more so in the second issue, is how the Planeteers are much older than they were in the show. They've grown up just like we have, except like where it's like, oh, did they get the rings as kids and now we're seeing them after having it for years? No, they're getting these rings as adults. So they're very different individuals than they were as kids. So now that opens the gates for, it's like, well, different problems are going to pop up now that these adults are getting these rings. They're not all the same age necessarily, but still you get the point. And more importantly too, like, while that's the case, David Pepos is still like holding true to these characters, to the Planeteers, and I love how he's doing that, but also how him and Casados are like expanding on this universe and this property that's just like, I mean, I feel like it's been so untapped since the first show. I mean, I don't think there's been anything else since the original show.
Yeah, I was watching the show and reading the comic at the same time, and like I was like, oh, this is weird, right? Because Pepos does a really good job of staying true to those characters. And they can't remember. I'm trying to look. What's the name of the character who's the fire guy?
Yeah, I couldn't tell you, but it's the fire. But the fire guy, everybody knows that is the redhead dude.
Yeah. I forgot. That guy lives for New Year's Eve. Right?
Honestly,
he was kind of a schmuck. I forgot about that.
I did too.
Like you see it in the comic, and then I'm watching the cartoon, and I go, he's a bit of a prick. He's a bit of a prick.
And when you're dealing with these kind of properties, especially even the ones that have been around for a long time, it's like you got to go back and check the source material, because as much as you're making it your own thing, you got to make sure you're staying, like, you're doing the characters and what they were justice. And we see it all the time with Marvel, and it's the inverse where they're going from the comics to the big screen. But this is flip flop. I think there was one comics run actually at Marvel with Captain Planet years ago, like a 12-issue series. But this is pretty much it outside of that, dude.
Yeah. So this was excellent. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah, awesome stuff. All right, let's round things out with DC. We got Batman, issue 161. This is also the Hush 2 run. We got Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue 5. Mr. Terrific, year 1, issue 3, as I mentioned before. Superman, issue 28. Justice League Unlimited, issue 9. Green Lantern, issue 25. Green Arrow, issue 26. The New History of the DC Universe, issue 2. DC versus Vampires World War V, issue 11. Gotham City Sirens Unfit for Orbit, issue 4. The Flash Bad Moon Rising Special, issue 1. And then, Joe, a title that we've talked about a lot in the show, but it's been a minute since we talked about Absolute Wonder Woman. Issue 10 is out this week. Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, and it's no secret, like, we love to rave about the Absolute Universe. We love to rave about Absolute Wonder Woman. And the thing that I think gets underplayed, actually, when we talk about Absolute Wonder Woman, at least on my part, is the flashbacks and the lore building. It definitely is, like, I enjoy it, but at the same time, I feel like we don't talk about it as much because there's so much cool stuff going on in the present, and the lore stuff kind of helps, like, further explain and elaborate what's going on in the present. But for me, issue 10 was the absolute best lore building issue, without question, because Diana the Kid, this is the first time we really see it. She's a total badass, dude. Like, forget about her being like a role model for kids. Like, there are adults who could learn a thing or two from the young Diana, the young Absolute Wonder Woman. I love what we get from her here, and this issue was where it was the absolute best for me, the best part of the entire issue.
Yeah, she really is the best of us, right?
Yep.
Like, when I think about the values I try to teach my daughter, right? Like, I want her to be kind, I want her to be compassionate, I want her to be stubborn, right? And not like stubborn in the sense of, like, that is an obstacle, but headstrong, I think, is the word, right? Because you want to raise a strong-willed, strong but compassionate, empathetic human being, right? And that's what we see, right, with young Diana here, right? She's headstrong. She's gonna stand her ground. She's gonna, she's not gonna senselessly do something because she's going to be easily provoked, right? When she decides she's going to act, it is going to be with conviction. Um, and we see that in this issue with her as a child. We see that in this issue with what's going on present day. I was thinking about this earlier. I mean, what Kelly Thompson, and Hayden Sherman are doing with Wonder Woman is like they're giving us a modern day, like this is Homer stuff, right? This is the
Mhm.
Odyssey. This is the Iliad. This is, I mean, we've talked about how mythology has played such an important role in the storytelling of Wonder Woman, but like I truly feel like out of all the writers out there, this is the closest to like giving us, you know, something in the vein, of Homer. It is just you're reading something that is very modern but very classical at the same time, and it's brilliant storytelling that's got everything that Homer, and Greek mythology sort of gives you, right? We see our hero up, we see our hero down, we see the struggles, we see the victories, we see, there's it's so complex. um and like I said, you get that with Kelly's writing, but I think Hayden Sherman's art style really captures that Greek feel, that mythological feel.
Yeah,
um
that's a great call.
you
That's a
know
great fucking call.
and so like you see it with Ferdinand, right? And you
Yeah.
sort of see it in the maze, but you see it in young Diana, right? You see, it is just you couldn't have asked for a better team to write this story. And this issue in particular was excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. This is a fucking awesome series, and we're loving what's going on with the Absolute Universe above all else over at DC. And for those who maybe haven't heard it before, go check out the two Friarside chats that we have with Scott Snyder talking about Absolute Batman. We first talked about it at the end of the first arc, and then we also talked with him about the introduction of Absolute Bane. And honestly, one of my favorite chat that we've ever had with him was the latest one that we did. And speaking of Friarside Chats, make sure you subscribe to one of our audio channels, as well as our YouTube page, and follow us on Instagram, where you're going to see clips from the show. And now's a really good time to make sure you're following us on one of our social media platforms, especially. We're also on TikTok, Blue Sky, and X. But the reason being, we have the Immortal Legend Batman conversation coming. That's only going to be on our audio channel. So make sure you subscribe there. Leave a 5-star rating and review. Otherwise, you're going to learn the real meaning of Tenacious Doc. But we're also ahead of that interview dropping. We'll have at least one clip of that conversation that goes out on social media ahead of the Friarside Chat. May have a couple. We'll definitely be sprinkling it leading up to Immortal Legend Batman hitting shelves as well. But definitely can guarantee we'll have one of those video clips up ahead of the interview. So make sure you follow us on one of those platforms. Subscribe. Other than that, Joe,
Keep reading, baby.